Your name is?
Kirsty Tosterman.
Okay.
Javert Valbar.
Okay. FXHome.
FXHome.
Yeah. Where does that come from?
Oh God, the name itself, I don't think anybody really knows.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think I've asked this question of our CEO before, and he wasn't quite sure where he got it from. But we've had it now for 15 plus years, so we've gotten a bit attached.
Really?
Yeah, FXHome's been around for 18 years, I think, now, but HitFilm has only been around for 8.
Oh, okay. HitFilm.
Yeah.
So that's mostly what I'm familiar with is HitFilm.
Yeah.
So tell me about that. Are you an editor? Either one of you guys editors?
I'm head of marketing, and Javert is our VFX artist.
I do edit videos, but I would consider myself more of a visual effects artist.
Okay.
But I do edit like tutorials using the software.
Okay. HitFilm. Mm-hmm. Tell me about it. I mean, why? There's a lot of NLEs out there right now. So why HitFilm?
Well, I think that HitFilm gives you a little bit more than just the typical NLEs, just because it is an all-in-one editor and compositor. So as well as doing your editing, if you're at all interested in adding in visual effects, titling for your scenes, green screening, any of that kind of stuff, then HitFilm allows you to do that all within one piece of software. And that's what's really, really strong about it.
And what about the NLE portion?
So I think the biggest thing is that you can go between editing and visual effects. The editor has all of the basic features that you would expect, and if you're coming from other software, it's got ripple edit, slip tools, the trimmer, all the normal stuff.
Right.
But then it has the added bonus of being able to switch to the visual effects side and then go right back into the editor. So it's what you would expect, but then plus the added bonus of being able to add visual effects.
So the visual effects side, is it comparable to something else I might know, After Effects or Motion? Or?
Yeah, if you use After Effects, HitFilm is also a layer-based compositor.
Okay.
So if you use After Effects, you'll be very familiar with how HitFilm works.
Okay. And is it a layer-based NLE? Tracks?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes.
The compositor itself has about 800 visual effects and presets all included. So when we talk about it being comparable to other things like After Effects, you do have a huge library to pick from with regards to new features to experiment with.
The editor as well has unlimited video and audio tracks. It also has a couple audio effects if you need to mix just in the NLE itself.
And is this Mac or PC both?
Both, yeah. Completely agnostic.
That must be a nightmare to try to take care of both troubleshooting, both sides?
Actually, we're quite unusual in that we don't get a huge amount of support queries. I mean, we take a huge amount of pride in our community. It's the thing that we're the most passionate about. So we have the ability to look after a huge number of people who have problems, but for the most part, they actually don't, which we take as a good sign. We're hoping that the training materials that we provide actually do the job for us. We do have a fantastic customer support team who are based in the US. We're obviously in the UK, but the majority of our users are in the US anyway. And he is fantastic with PC and Mac. So yeah, for the most part, we cover everything.
Well, that's good that you have somebody who can do both.
Yeah, he's brilliant. Yeah.
So you have unlimited tracks.
Yes. Both
Just
video and audio.
Based on the requirements of the equipment, I guess. Based on the Mac, how many it can handle, or as far as just bogging down or getting slower.
Right. You know, when it comes to video editing, that's not something a simple computer can do. We do recommend that you have something that can play video games at least.
Okay.
We do have the minimum specs on our website, but for the most part, we also do try to make HitFilm as compatible as possible and as fast as possible on every kind of hardware.
Okay. What kind of codecs?
Is a bunch listed on our website. We similar to the hardware requirements, we try to make it easy for filmmakers. So we try to limit how much transcoding you have to do, if at all. So we support all the major file types.
ProRes,
MOV, MP4.
Blackmagic RAW and ProRes RAW. Anything on those two yet? Those are both kind of new.
Yeah.
And they're not really that widely supported yet.
Right. Well, our support team is, we do have a couple of people who work primarily just to ensure that we're supporting the most up-to-date kind of stuff. So with regards to HitFilm, we do have a paid version of the product. It's the HitFilm Pro version. It's about $299, which is really accessible price point considering some of our...
Yes, exactly.
But we do also have a completely free product called HitFilm Express, which we've got about 4 million users in total now.
How many?
4 million. Yeah, we came to NAB about 5 years ago and we had 140,000 and we were like, yes!
But it's 4 million people how much support does the free version get?
As I said, it's actually very, very low. It's a very small percentage of that.
That's amazing.
Yeah, we're really happy about it because it could be a nightmare. But yeah, so we took a bit of a gamble, kind of, I guess, business-wise with regards to it is completely free. We don't get any money from it, and it opens the potential for us to have a lot more support and things like that. But so far, it's really working out for us, and it's just fantastic to have a free product, which means that the kids that are coming up and trying to get into filmmaking and creating their own YouTube channels and stuff, they actually have something they can use that doesn't cost them any money at all. And Express has about 75% of the feature set of Pro.
Wow!
So it's actually really powerful in itself. It's not just like a Mickey Mouse piece of software.
Right.
It's very powerful.
Exactly. That's fantastic. So you have a large YouTube component that use your product?
We do. Pretty much YouTubers, people who are creating vlogs, visual effects, kind of hobbyists and things like that, they're all a massive part of our audience. And so we try to cater to that by having the free version of the software, and also we have a huge focus on YouTube ourselves. So we've got 200,000 subscribers of our own, and we utilize...
How many?
200,000. Yeah, we're pretty pleased about it at this point. But we utilize that platform for training materials. So Javert here produces 2 pieces of content a week, and to focus on individual feature sets that people are wanting to try out. So
absolutely. I mean, YouTube is just... It's incredible what it's become. I mean, when Google bought YouTube, I'm like, what are you guys doing buying YouTube? So they paid a lot of money for it.
Oh yeah, but it's definitely paid off.
Oh yeah.
I mean, we go to VidCon fairly regularly, so that was really, really exciting because we got to learn, I think it was about 4 years ago, we really got to understand what the algorithm does, and we got to meet the people who are really making waves in the industry. And so now it's actually fairly simple. As long as you follow the algorithm and you produce high quality content, then you can get those subscriber numbers up pretty quick.
Well, last year at the Final Cut Pro Creative Summit in Cupertino, Justine was the keynote speaker.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Yeah.
And so one of the questions that Jeff Greenberg asked her, he said, "Are you ever disappointed in your numbers?" And she goes, "Oh yeah." She goes, "Oh yeah." He goes, "What kind of number?" She goes, "A few 100,000."
Per video within 24 hours.
She's disappointed in that number.
Yeah.
She's used to 1 million, 1.5 million. So if it's only a couple 100,000, she's disappointing to her.
And yet that's more than most publications and newspapers
and television.
Yeah.
I mean, she has millions and millions and millions of downloads. TV stations would kill for that stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's just a whole different world.
Speaking of TV, did any news organizations use your software that you know of?
So HitFilm is a way for people to really get into filmmaking.
Okay,
and
that's a good way to describe that.
Yeah, we've tried to develop it so that so the interface is quite similar to other pieces of software that you might find as you get into the industry. So it's not a huge learning curve, but we find that visual effects studios and news stations and things, they're not necessarily the audience that we project to. It's mostly individuals. So we're not aware of any, but if anyone knows of any, please do tell us.
Exactly. So you have a free version, and then the $2.99 version is... How long does that last before there's another update?
So we're very, very quick to update. In terms of the pricing of it, you get 12, well, you can buy it outright for $2.99, or you have a 12-month kind of half subscription option whereby you pay for the software, and then once your 12 months runs out, you get to keep the latest version of that software. So we were aware that our users didn't necessarily like the full subscription option, so we tried to provide a different choice for them.
Yeah, I don't mind subscriptions as long as the software doesn't stop working when the subscription runs out.
Yeah.
Like somebody else we won't talk about.
Yes, we won't talk about it. But yeah, no, our users were very adamant that they didn't want that, so we tried to come up with a different choice.
Absolutely, and it's the same price as Final Cut Pro.
Yeah.
$2.99.
Yeah.
Is that where you got the price from?
I believe we looked at everyone and came up with
okay.
in-between price. But yeah, it's from the feedback that we've had from people, it's what they think, the ambassadors in particular, it's what they think the software is worth balanced against trying to make it as accessible as humanly possible without going bankrupt.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's important.
But yeah, we've actually got some really exciting new announcements for NAB. We've got 3 in total, which is 3 more than we've ever had at NAB. So we've just announced yesterday that we're going to be working with the Foundry. We're going to be bringing their camera tracker into HitFilm.
Wow.
Which is really exciting, which Javed can probably tell you more about.
Yeah, so if you don't know, it's a camera tracker. So when you film something and there's camera shake, basically you have to track the camera in order to put in any sort of visual effects. The 3D camera tracker, it's sort of automatic, so you just place it on the clip, it figures out how the camera moved, and then it creates a camera for you. So it just makes it really easy to put in the visual effects without having to manually track it. And that'll be in HitFilm Pro by default and likely an add-on for Express, so you don't have to buy it, but you can if you want.
Sure.
When that's going to come out yet, but it will be coming out soon.
So that's one announcement.
That's one announcement.
What's number 2?
The second one is we will soon be supporting some of the most beloved and popular After Effects plugins. So we're already OFX friendly, but we were aware that people really, really loved specific After Effects ones, and we wanted to bring it into HitFilm, which means that we're the only other software that supports those plugins other than After Effects. So we've got a list that we're working through at the moment. We've got about 5 or 6 of the most popular ones that will be kind of done by the time this announcement is properly made later in the year. But yeah, we're really excited about that.
That's great. And then what's number 3?
So number 3 is one that we only talked about yesterday. We are going to be partnering with, we've had a long-term relationship with Vegas over the last kind of, what used to be Sony and is now Vegas Creative Software over the last couple of years. They've been fantastic to work with. And now we're actually going to be partnering with them and producing a suite of products. So it's taking the compositing and visual effects technology from us, which we're very good at, and it's taking the editing from Vegas, which they're very good at, and the imaging products that we've just released, and putting them all together and making a super product.
Wow. That's pretty darn impressive. So you said HitFilm has been out for how many years?
8 years in total now.
8 years ago, I'm trying to think. That was when Final Cut Pro 10 was just coming out, and 7 was dropped. Right about the same time.
2011, yeah-ish.
So that's an interesting time to be joining the market.
Yeah, I mean, we've for a number of years we've kind of flown under the radar a little bit, but I think people are starting to pay attention to us now, which is really nice. You kind of have to when you've got 4 million users. But to be fair, a lot of our users do use other pieces of software, and we sit within the competitive space, but we're really passionate about not trying to make people pick between software, because we're aware that filmmakers have a workflow that's very flexible. You use a number of other different pieces of software. All
right.
Our Mac users will have Final Cut probably as well. So we've done things like we've created Ignite plugins, which takes our tech and allows you to put it into third parties, virtually every third party. So yeah, we sit within the competitive space, but we're not trying to nudge anybody out.
Do you, speaking of that, do you use XML import and export? Do you guys work with other NLEs that way?
I don't believe that's supported right now, but it's definitely a feature that has been requested and we've looked at. But right now it's not supported.
Okay. Very interesting.
Yeah.
Well, that's because the Final Cut Pro 10 has its own flavor. Final Cut Pro 7 has its own flavor that Adobe adopted.
Right.
But 10 is different, so I was wondering how that worked.
Okay. Yeah. Well, we will feed that back to the developers.
And 10's always, of course, doing any kind of a translation via XML is a little difficult because it doesn't have tracks.
Yeah.
So it has lanes, which are kind of like tracks, but they really are. They just, for some reason, they're allergic to the word tracks. I don't know why.
Yeah.
All right, that's fantastic. Anything else you want to say about NAB?
No, thank you for talking to us. We've got all of our announcements in. So
Where from London are you?
we're actually from just outside of London in a tech hub called Norwich.
Oh, okay.
I say ironically, it's not a tech hub at all. People are always surprised that we're there, but it's a lovely place to live.
Yeah, I've been to London about 6 times.
Yeah? Like it?
Oh, I love it. Love it.
It's very bustling.
Yes.
Nothing compared to this, but
Well, London's pretty happening place.
Yeah.
I used to go see bands there and stuff. I saw the Pretenders
really?
at the Nashville Room when they just had Stop Your Sobbing, and I think it was '79 or so.
Nice.
That was incredible. Small club, yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Very intimate. I like it.
All righty. Thank you very much.
Talk to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you. Thank you.
you.